5 p.m. Join us right now on social media at @School live on Twitter and of course on Facebook at Excel on Cape Town TV. Hashtag Excel on 263. He performed before that. Kumkani Sibu. He wants to be called Kumkani Sibu, guys.
No, like literally, guys. No, Kumkani.
You're a comedian, that's why.
No, but not only that, but the Kumkani where I come from.
So you're not joking, right? As
No.
you always joke.
No, Kumkani means it's a prince.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, so the Kumkani Sibu. Kumkani Sibu mkiwazo kaipela.
Kumkani Sibu.
Mkiwazo.
Hey, is that one of your jokes?
Literally, guys, if I am Kumkiwazo, against
So that's not one of your not one of your jokes.
It's not.
It's not something that you came up with.
You know this argument we're having, I had it throughout primary and high school.
And we're gonna have it forever.
Guys, that is there. The Bayangin was being Kumkiwazo. Like you find your app, guys. It's killing Komo, guys.
Yeah. Yeah. Welcome on the show. Thank you so much for joining us, Kumkani. Let's talk about how you would define yourself as a comedian. How do you define yourself as a comedian?
I'm an intellectual, well-traveled comedian. Traveled a lot of South Africa. Okay, I've not traveled South Africa. Yeah, but I've traveled a lot.
Traveled what?
Outside of South Africa.
Okay, I saw you said you have no traveled South Africa.
No, outside of South Africa. Yeah. So I traveled a lot of South Africa. So that's when I got to pick up a lot of things, different races, different people from different cities. And that's when I was like, okay, this is actually the more material you can get is from traveling.
Yeah.
That's one thing. And also I'm educated as well. So I always defined myself as an intellectual comedian.
So you know what you're talking about. You do your research.
I try.
Don't just go there. Could see when you're talking about Zuma, him being able to cut and reach up. Like, hey, he knows what he's talking about. So you wake up one day, you decide you want to be a comedian. How did you decide that I want to be a comedian? I want to do this for a living. I want to make money through comedian. And what do you say to your parents?
No, actually, what happened is I was on radio.
Yeah.
I was on campus radio. So I did a radio show. So I was just myself. Basically, you don't wake up and become a stand-up comedian.
Okay.
You become funny naturally as a person. You become yourself, right? And I was on radio. So people actually enjoyed my shows. And they thought they were funny. And you'd get comments, that was really funny. My mom really loved that joke. My dad was laughing the entire time on the car. So that's what I was doing. And then a friend asked me to host an event for them. So I was MC of the event. And afterwards, everyone was like, oh, so are you a stand-up comedian? I was like, no. So that's when my friends are like, oh, there's a place in Lower Main. Let's go try it out.
And then you did that.
I'm here now.
Yeah, there's so many comedians coming out of South Africa right now, embracing international stage, like Trevor Noah. And comedy is currently growing in South Africa. It's receiving so much attention from people. So many people now are becoming comedians. What sets you apart from the other comedians that I just recently mentioned?
Actually, talking about that, before I answer, talking about that, currently, there's Mother City Comedy Festival, which is happening at Baxter. It started on the 10th, and it's ending on the 29th. So there are like 40 different comedy shows. Right.
Wow.
So we're part of the show that's happening. We have a show tomorrow. So SA really has a lot of comedians.
Definitely.
And the competition is growing. So as I said before, the more you travel, because for me, I graduated before I became a comedian. So, and I grew up in Kasi and then went to private school situations throughout my entire life. So
speaking about being Ngosi, speaking about being a prince.
So you take all of those aspects of your life and you talk about yourself basically, and then everything else is going to fit in where it needs to.
Yeah. They say comedians never have dull moments. Are you always happy? Is there ever a time you got onto stage you're like, I just don't want to be here?
Have you heard of the term death on stage? Comedians do have dull moments, especially when things did not go your way. Because the thing is, a lot of people just assume we're always happy. You're always funny, but we do face problems like anyone else. And it's quite challenging for us as well, but we kind of find the funny side of everything. That's what keeps us going, because as much as we all face a crisis, we find the funny side of the crisis.
What do you do when you got on stage and you probably going to perform for like 10 minutes and people are just looking at you as, oh God, can you just get out of the stage? What do you do in those situations?
You try and go back to the first jokes you used to do, because those jokes are, because the thing is, if you try comedy and then the first time you fail, you don't think you're funny. But if you are funny the first time you went on stage, that means there's actually something there. So sometimes when you're struggling, you go back to your old sets and you're like, just to keep them going, or think of something that's currently happening that people are going to relate to at that point,
Yeah.
and then try that out.
Speaking of first, do you remember your first joke that you did as a stand-up comedian?
I actually do. I actually do, right? But
Yeah?
it's not.
Can you recite it for us? Just there, 10 seconds, 20 seconds.
No, actually, what I did is there was a place called Armchair here at Lower Main here in Cape Town. So there was an audience, right? And then there was a mirror, and then there's the stage. So the first thing because I was nervous, and I was like, yo, sorry guys, my name is Sibu, but I'm not used to this audience. Can I go to the audience that I'm used to? So I went and started in front of the mirror, and then started talking there, and then everyone laughed. So hearing those laughs was easy for me to go back on stage.
Yeah.
And then I just started talking about my first time, about everything. Like, because everyone is always remember their first time. So my set was all about my I don't want to get into detail about the first times, but I just started talking about my first times, about everything. How guys always want to be the first, but girls never want someone who's the first. About everything. So I started making jokes about that. And when I left set, I was like, oh, anyways, guys, you guys are my first time.
Wow.
And so it was a good set, and that's the set that led me here.
Yeah. Comedy is a huge stage. You can either make it or not make it. What are some of the things that you think you do in preparation to some of your performances? What do you think you do differently that actually makes you to be the person that you are today and reach this far in the world of comedy? How do you prepare?
It's trying as much as possible to be educated about the world around you. And secondly, my laugh. Like literally, right? My laugh. Like I can genuinely go on stage and start laughing and everyone can laugh. So those little things kind of highlight the person that you are when you're off stage. People are like, oh, that guy with the laugh.
Yeah.
And that. So it kind of helps a lot.
I think that's a good thing, to laugh at your own jokes, and then people get to laugh, because laughing is very infectious. Yeah. When you laugh at something, someone else also laughs at the fact that you're laughing. Not that they're laughing at your joke, but they're laughing at the fact that you're laughing. Yeah. Let's talk about opportunities. Are there enough opportunities for comedians, especially those who are upcoming? Let's forget about Trevor, about Trevor Gumbi, Trevor Noah. Let's talk about those who are upcoming. Are there enough opportunities, especially right here in Cape Town?
There are. People just need to get out there and see the spaces, because people laughing is natural. Everyone wants to laugh, because we all have, there's way too many tragedies. What do you call this? Crisis happening. Bad things happening on a daily. So if there are too many things happening on a daily that are bad, there should be too many things to make us laugh as well, and those people that are going to deliver those laughters. Yeah,
we are kind of an angry and sad nation, so we absolutely do need comedians and to just make us laugh. How does your future look like?
It looks funny. Like literally, my future is unpredictable. That's what I've learned about life so far, is that everything's unpredictable. Because Nelson Mandela went to Joburg to study law, became a president. You know, Zozi came to Cape Town to study PR, and now she's Miss Universe. You know, so I came to Cape Town to study PR as well. I was with Zozi in the same class.
Yes, brag when I with Zozi in the same class.
Yeah, so my life is unpredictable, and that's what I learned about life, is that just learn to be out of your comfort zone and find yourself out of your career lines or what you decided to follow.
Yeah, speaking of Zozi, how does it feel to see someone whom you're in the same class with being on an international stage, doing what they're passionate about?
You actually feel proud, because at first we were all in class talking about it, and we're like, okay, we PR students, it's our duty to PR Zozi. You know? So that's how we started. We started getting it out there lightly, not thinking that it would go. We knew that there's potential, but we did not know it would go as far as it went. So we started pushing it in class, joking about it. Like she was there, we're joking like, when she makes it, what's next? What's the next step? And look at her now.
Yeah.
So it's quite amazing, because we're all proud of ourselves, and we're proud of her more than anything.
Yeah. YouTube is currently taking the world by storm right now. Everyone is going online. Do you think it's more easy to get recognized through an online platform or live shows? Which one would you prefer, and which one would you advise people to use in order to get their work out there?
Comedy is complicated. Music, you can do YouTube, you can do online. But with comedy, is the fact that people don't want to hear the same jokes throughout. So it's not like music, because a lot of people are always asking, so Sibu, are your jokes on YouTube? It's not easy for us, because as soon as I put my jokes on YouTube, you hear those jokes. The next time I do them, you're like, no man, you're stuck to the same jokes. So with us, the only thing we can do, when you feel like, okay, I've overdone the joke, I can just put it out there now.
YouTube.
Only then you can put on thing on YouTube. But for us comedy, it's rather do the live things you do and do you.
Besides watching you right here on Excel right now, where can people catch you on social media, and what are any other performances that you're doing around the country?
So tomorrow we're having a show at Baxter Theatre.
Yeah.
It's Xhosa Appreciation. So it's me, Tafaya, you see him on a lot of
Yay!
videos. Yeah. And Skazol.
Why don't you bring them with?
They're landing in the morning.
In the morning, okay.
Yeah. Tafaya is coming from Joburg, Skazol is coming from PE. So we're doing a Xhosa show at Baxter because we also believe that Xhosa people need to laugh as well.
And Xhosa people are funny.
Yeah. The thing is with that is because most of the shows are English. So we decided, no, let's have a Xhosa show because sometimes it's nicer and funnier to laugh in your own language.
No, definitely.
Because sometimes you laugh later in English because you need to translate
Translated into Xhosa and social media?
Yeah. So on social media, it's Buddha_love. That's on Twitter and on Instagram. And then on Facebook, Kumkani Sibu.
Well, Facebook, Kumkani Sibu, and of course on Twitter,
Buddha_love.
Sibu_love.
And on YouTube, it's also Kumkani Sibu.
Kumkani Sibu. Be sure to support local comedians and be sure that they get into an international stage. Thank you so much, Kumkani Royalty. I hope you didn't use your royalty things to get where you are today.
No, man.
No, it's only your talent, right? Well, we're going to take a quick breather. More to come right here next. That's boy.